Hello everyone, Surat here, and with Ultimas 1 and 2 both taken care of, it is now time to take on Ultima 3, subtitled Exodus. As you see right here, and in the bezel I made, that type of thing. This game plays a good deal differently to the previous installments. The first is that character creation, and we are going to erase this because that was a test run. But we need to first create our party. And this is just naming the file, and I have a cat climbing up the back of my chair here. So first, yes, Ash, I'm sure people are very excited to know you are right here. Down that way, please. We do not do cuddles right now. You do cuddles later. And when I say create a party, I mean we've got to create at least 4 characters that will form our adventuring party. That is because, unlike Ultimas 1 and 2, you're not just a solo adventurer. Also, it's kind of unclear, and doubly so for the NES version that we're playing here, if any one of these 4 is the same person that appeared in both Ultima 1 and 2, because as far as I can tell, those are canonically supposed to be the same person. But I'm not sure if the time that has passed will actually get us a completely different person or not. But one of them is still going to be me as a wizard, although I will not be human anymore. Go figure. We're gonna change that because things have changed a tiny bit, and I need to pull up the story here. I thought I did, but I did not, apparently. So we're going to get the story, if I can find the damn thing. Is that it? Is that the story? Why is it so small? I apparently cannot make this bigger. That's not going to work. I'm gonna pause the video, and when I actually get this story brought up, I will unpause and read it. Okay, there we go. The story, as told by the NES manual here. Eons ago, Lord British came into the land of Caesarea. Since that time, it has been united under his rule as the Kingdom of Britannia, and has gone through 2 major crises. A few years ago, there were political upheavals among the city-states of the kingdom. The ringleader of this political instability was Mondain the Magician. Under his horrible rule, the people's lives were devastated. A valiant warrior was called forth from another world by Lord British. That was us. Just in case you're not clear on that. This warrior finally overthrew Mondain. Britannia survived the first crisis. But peace in the Kingdom of Britannia did not last long. Lord British sucks at his job. Anyway, Minax, the witch, a disciple of Mondain, became very powerful and ruled the world of darkness. Minax had power to sway the time axes of the universe. However, a legendary hero again came to the rescue, overthrew Minax, once again us, and brought peace back to the kingdom. The Kingdom of Britannia entered into a peaceful state for another 20 years. Now the kingdom is about to face its 3rd crisis. Rumors abound about a fiery island which has emerged in the southwestern seas. Little is known of the evil that dwells there. It is known only as Exodus. Mondain and Minax have cast a spell on Exodus, this island of fire, and the little-known island has started volcanic activity. Mondain and Minax are dead. I don't know how they're doing this, but they're doing it somehow. Lord British has sent out a call across time and space in search of 4 valiant warriors. Their quest to return peace to the kingdom. They must solve the riddle of Exodus. You are the leader of this quest. So there you go. There's a story. So now let's talk about character creation, because each one of those little figures you see with the 2 frames of animation up there is a different class in this game. Some of them I'm not completely sure if I've got the right names for them. But we start with the top row there, the blue guy with the shield and swords, fighter. The one to his right's cleric. Then he has a wizard. Then you have a thief. After that's a paladin on the far left on the second row. The barbarian right after that. The lark after that. The illusionist after that. And then the bottom row has a druid, an alchemist, and a ranger. Now, these classes all have varying degrees of how many different types of weapons, how many different armors, how many types of light magic, and how many types of dark magic. I would say offensive and defensive magic, but there are some offensive light spells and some defensive dark spells. But they kind of go off different stats. We'll get to the stats in a second. Also, in this version, they come preset with a gender. The cleric, paladin, lark, and illusionist are all female. The rest are by default male, and we cannot change this. And let's see, for magical ability, the fighter, the thief, the barbarian. Anyone else? I think it's just those 3. Those 3 have no magical ability. The cleric, the paladin, and the illusionist all work off of light magic, which is wisdom based. The alchemist, lark, and wizard all work off of dark magic, which is intelligence based. The ranger, druid, the ranger and druid, I believe. Yeah, the remaining 2 out of the lot, the ranger and the druid, have a little of both, but they get weak, but, they get little of both. So, there are things here, but let's just say this, only the wizard and the cleric are going to be able to get the full list of their spells. Everyone else is, at best, going to get half of that list. Yeah, that's just the way it works. In exchange, the other classes get a hold of better weapons and armor. That's just kind of the way it works. So, in general, there is no... excuse me. There is no really way to lock yourself out of winning the game by picking a bad party, because there's a little thing here, you can create new party members at any time. You'll just have to get them buffed up before they can start to meaningfully contribute for your party, but this is not as difficult as you may think it will be. Yeah. But what we are going to do, we are going to have a fighter, we're going to have a paladin, we're going to have a cleric, we're going to have a wizard. Kind of a standard issue party. The only real downside to this is that only 2 of these individuals, the fighter and the paladin, are going to have access to ranged weapons, because the cleric and the wizard, they don't get such lucky, weapons. The wizard can only wield a goddamn dagger. He can't fight with anything else, and unless you just want to buy him a stack of daggers, because you can throw a dagger. It's the only melee weapon that you can actually just throw, but you lose it after you throw. So anyway, we've kind of gone over what the different classes are. You can kind of see which ones are martial based, which ones aren't. But anyway, we're going to be focusing on those 4, and then some addendums. But anyway, for now, let's get our party created. This will be the first video here. If it actually wants to react, come on, game. Thank you. So now we are going to go ahead and we're going to creating a handmade party here. To go along with the classes, we have 5 races. Each race will have a different layout of maximum attribute points. Yeah, each one of these races has different limits to whichever attribute you want to deal with. You've got 4 attributes you deal with: strength, dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom. Strength is basically how hard you hit and your hit percentage. In other words, it's both die rolls during a Dungeons and Dragons game when you attack something effectively. Dexterity is basically evasion and how good you are at disabling traps. We're not going to have to deal with that very often. Intelligence, it affects how many magic points you have for the black magic spellcasters. Willpower, basically willpower or wisdom in this case. Wisdom powers willpower, which is the light magic. So yeah, so you've got to check. If you don't know the stats, you're going to be in a little bit annoyed later when you create, say, let's say you create a bobbit thief because you think that would be funny. Your dexterity can only go up to 50 as a bobbit, so that would be a bad choice. But just to kind of sum up the races, the humans are all around average in everything. Their attributes all hit 75 as the maximum. The elves, their dexterity can go up to 99, but their wisdom can only hit 50. The other two are average 75s. Dwarves have high strength at 99, but low intelligence at 50, but dex and wisdom are average at 75. The bobbit has high wisdom at 99, but low dex at 50, but a strength and intelligence of average of 75. And the fuzzy there, it has high dexterity and high intelligence at 99, but a max wisdom of 75 for its average, but it's weak as a kitten at 25. And you can kind of tell once you learn what classes need what, you'll learn which race is probably best for each class. So let's go ahead. And we want a fighter first, so we're going to pick a dwarf fighter. And since this character cannot use any magic whatsoever, intelligence, wisdom are completely useless. How do I spell this? And meat lantern. And then for number 2, we are going to create ourselves a paladin. You may think having a low ability paladin would be kind of annoying. It kind of is, but the paladin is there to mainly cast a few cure spells and maybe the open spells. But you are going to want some wisdom on it, so definitely not an elf. But dexterity, since dexterity is kind of a throwaway stat, the bobbit is going to be probably your best bet. Or at least dexterity is going to be a throwaway stat for this character because this character gets armor. But does need some wisdom. So a bobbit paladin, which we are going to go ahead and max out wisdom and strength. Now, every class that uses magic that is not a wizard or a cleric, whatever their maximum attribute in their wisdom or their intelligence is, whichever one counts for their spell, they get half that many magic points to use. So our paladin is only going to start with 12 magic points. We will be able to raise this up. But this also means that the paladin is never going to get above 50 magic points, and is going to lose a few of the top level spells from the game. But it is what it is. And of course, because cleric is all about the wisdom, strength does help. It affects, you know, it affects the ability to actually hit things with your weapons. And you don't have unlimited magic supplies. I went blind there, apparently. We will worry about that dexterity later. Yeah, we will max out strength to start with, just because I will never be able to raise that strength above 25. Sad. And yes, it's a me. And now that our party is made and relatively balanced, they're going to go on the beach and they're going to go sip Mai Tais for a while. But we will talk about that in a minute. Because I mainly want to get into the game here. And believe me, there are actually ways to completely optimize your party to be the best setup and all that. Exodus is about to wake up now in this region, blah blah blah. This is Lord British. I think. Could just be a priest. I don't know. Get ready for the journey. And we get kicked out right to the overworld. So let's go ahead and bring up the menu here. Because we've got our party created. Our first goal is going to be to get a boat. That first goal is actually going to take a fair bit of grinding. But we will go over that in the next video. Because right now we have done enough. We've gone on pretty long with just getting the group together. And yeah, we will want to go ahead and let these guys go take a vacation on the beach for a little while. So we're going to call in the B team, which I will have created before we start the next video. And you will understand why once we get into it, but we'll talk about that later. So until next time, take care everyone.